កម្មវិធីកិច្ចសន្ទនាកម្ពុជានិងពិភពលោក
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Cambodia Global Dialogue Southeast Asia TV. Today we're going to be talking about the potential of the Cambodian diaspora, whether they are from France, from Europe, from Australia, US. They are nonetheless Cambodian, and they left the country in the different circumstances, different era, different period. But at the end of the day, Cambodia, as we know now, is a country is very stable. The economy is growing. We are part of the ASEAN Economic Community. We're a member of the WTO. Cambodia is a thriving country now, and there is more and more the willingness of many Cambodians who left the country, like I said, under different circumstances, to want to come back home to do different things. But I would leave that to our guest today, and Soras May, welcome to the show. Soras May, you're Cambodian.
Yes.
But anyway, I'm not gonna speak for yourself. I will give you a few minutes to introduce yourself, and so this way the audience can feel a bit about your background, and then after that we can go on a bit on the topic of the diaspora in Cambodia.
Okay. So how to start? Let's say I am what you call a concatting pair. So my mother is French and my father is Cambodian. I was born in France.
Okay.
Because my father moved to France in early 60s.
In the early 60s?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Quite early.
Yes.
And then he met my mom, I think, at the university.
Okay.
And so...
University love.
Exactly. And due to the political situation, he was able to come back and forth during the studies, but then he was stuck in France. He had the chance to have most of his family moving to France as well. Before the collapse. Before the collapse, but a bit during the war as well. So I was born in France, educated in a very, very French environment, let's say. So this is why my Khmer is still a bit poor, and my English as well is not fluent. My father moved back in Cambodia in early 90s, and before that he was in Thailand for a few years during the resistance years.
Yes.
And he had me came on vacation since early 90s as well. So I was coming when I was a teenager. Every
you're still young.
I'm still young, but I was far younger then. And I used to come in every summer for first 1 week, because you could not do a lot of things in Cambodia back then.
And back then, yes.
Yeah, everything was in Phnom Penh.
Yes.
And then I had to do internship, so I started to do it as well in all my internship in Cambodia. And when
what did you study?
Management and like international management, and at the end diploma in defense and national security.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but I don't really use it. And so when I finished my university and I did my army time in France,
okay.
I had the choice.
It's 2 years, right? 2 years.
10 months. So
okay. Okay.
And then I had the choice of starting my professional life in France or seek something else. And my father told me just to move for a few months in Cambodia to see if I could find something. It was in 2001.
Yeah.
And so I came with only one luggage. I didn't have any vision, any real ambition about what I would do in Cambodia, but I didn't leave the country. So
that was, what year was that?
2001.
Okay.
So, so
I think that's when we met. That's when your father introduced me to you.
Exactly, because I had to open a company.
Yes. You're right. Yes. Yeah. So I mean, you start your own business then at that time.
Yeah.
As consulting.
Back then it was an IT outsourcing company.
Okay.
The thing is, if you remember well, back then you didn't have a lot of job opportunities
Yes.
in Cambodia.
Yes.
And especially for people like me, just fresh off university, my CV was almost blank, so it was hard to find a job. So when you don't find a job, what you do is you start your own business.
Yeah. Okay.
So I did that for IT, then we had a communication agency, then a trading company.
Oh,
so
good.
I did that for free. Yeah.
That's the spirit of entrepreneurship.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you also are very involved in this organization that Anvaya, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What does Anvaya stand for?
So Anvaya is at first it was only what we called a network, social network. The idea was from 2000 to 2010, let's say, you can see a lot of Cambodians from overseas coming back. But a lot of them, let's say, we didn't have any group, any community, any association to refer to. You have association for Americans, association for French, association for local Cambodians.
Yes.
You have, of course, the political parties as well, but you didn't have the social aspect of it. And the thing is that when you come back, it's not so easy.
Yeah. There's no support structure.
Exactly.
To welcome them.
Exactly. And I will not say we are a support structure yet, because to do that you need to be very, very well organized.
Yes.
We are working on that. But we are a very strong social network and a very strong community. So when people come, they can ask us about job opportunities.
Okay.
They can ask us about business. So what we do mainly is that we put people in touch within our community, and so that those people they have a community they can belong to. Because to be frank, I'm speaking for myself and for a lot of us. When you come back, you always think you are Cambodian.
Yeah.
But at the end, you always discover, or sometimes it's hard, that you are not a local Cambodian. So and we are not an expat either.
Yes.
Because Cambodia is still our country.
Yes.
So we are in the middle.
Yes. But Anvaya, what is it? Yeah. How do you come up with that name?
I don't know, we are good in marketing. So Anvaya is a Sanskrit word, and the meaning is family.
Oh, okay. So it's Sanskrit word.
Yeah, Sanskrit word.
Interesting. Interesting.
So the meaning is family, because we do consider ourselves as a family.
And now you have a good network, right? Of
So
mostly from France or other country as well.
I know we have people from outside France, but I would say maybe 80% of our members are French. But we have of course Americans, few Australians, not that much. And also a lot of Swiss, Belgian,
interesting.
German as well.
Yes.
So
And so you start to see the trend of them coming back, mostly young, right, or retiree or what?
I think for let's say the older generation, what we call the first generation of the diaspora, they don't really go through us because they already have their network.
Yes.
They can speak the language.
Yes.
They already have. They know people already. So we are more into the second generation.
The second generation.
Exactly.
Okay.
And even now we can start to see the third generation, so the very young one coming.
Is that right?
And one point is that I think from 2000 to 2010, you can see more people in their 40s, people in the midterm of their professional life, coming to start something, but now you can see a lot of young people starting their professional life in Cambodia.
Well, I have one good friend. She married a French gentleman, and she lived in very near Switzerland. And her daughter came, Daphne. She came. You probably know her.
Yeah, I know.
And now she keep coming back. But before, more like a tourist, do some modeling a bit, taking picture. But now she's coming with real business, idea, in IT, that sort of thing. It's quite interesting. But how they look at things is like you said. They say, okay, well, uncle, how I'm gonna go about it? I have this idea. I want to start that. Do I need to do this? It's a lot of questions that they don't know, right? And I find that this is quite interesting that you mentioned the organization that you do provide some sort of support structure, at least to introduce them to the right people, right? How many members you have now?
I think we in terms of membership, it's always hard to say. Let's say we have around 200 members.
Okay.
But if on top of that we have many followers, so
yes,
people
yes.
who didn't really join
yes,
the
yes.
association.
Yes,
but
yes.
who
So
still belong to
in
the
other words, it's a
community.
loose network.
Exactly,
Yes,
it's not a loose network. So we have roughly, I would say, in Cambodia maybe 400 people.
Okay.
And then we have some chapters overseas.
Okay.
So we have many people in France, Switzerland, and
Yes.
Belgium.
Yes, yes.
That's a stronger network
Yes,
we have.
yes.
And those chapters, they are like, I would say, an embassy for us. So what they do is that when people wants to come back, even on vacation sometime,
Yes.
or if they're looking for an internship for the
Yes.
young one,
Yes.
then they link us, they link them to us so that we can provide them with
Yeah.
guidance.
Most of the people that here I'm talking more of the second generation, okay, not the first generation. They sort of retire already. They have their own, like you say, they have their old friend already, right? But the third generation too young. The middle generation, which is the second generation, in what field you think most of them come back that they like to do, or you see them doing in terms of economic sector?
I think, well, first I will say that we did a survey last year about them, and we found out that half of them are entrepreneurs,
Okay.
which is something good.
Yes.
And then the other one are mostly in a management position.
Okay.
So I have to say, we are mainly from the business side of the society.
Yes.
We have a few people involved in NGO.
Yes,
We
yes.
have many people involved in culture. But
Okay.
if you look at the percentage, it's
The
small.
business. The business. Right.
Business is a stronger part, and mainly you would find people in marketing, IT,
Yes.
those sectors. We need
So it's a lot in the
a
service sector.
Exactly.
It's I think this is where the professional experience, the academic experience in more advanced economy. That's what I find very helpful. To me, I think I came back in '93. So from the U.S. After the killing field, I went there. I think this is where the bridge is. That you sort of understand how the business mindset in another business environment, right? The U.S. Here I'm talking from U.S. Yours is more from Europe. But at the end of the day, there's a common denominator in terms of minimum skill, minimum education, minimum appreciation of the business environment. These are the same thing, right? Whether in U.S., Australia, or Europe. And when they come here, I think it's more, how do I use this? I would say this extra skill or knowledge to fill the gap here and to find a niche here. And IT is probably one area that there's a lot of potential. Yeah.
IT, marketing, everything related to creativity.
Yes, yeah.
That's because when you are, for example, if we have so many people in marketing, it's because when for people in advertising, for example, we need to have a big general culture of design, and
Yes.
this kind of thing. I have to say, till now in Cambodia, the culture of image is still
Yes,
more or less poor.
Yes.
And so this is why you can see so many people, like movie makers, designers. I mean, a lot of them are from the diaspora.
Yes. Quite interesting. A few weeks ago, I have Siphana.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Siphana is like
Yeah, he's a
it's
member,
a Diaspora also. He came, but he did very well in terms of bringing that creative side of the Diaspora, and to come and mix into first music, and then later on into movie producing, and then even his latest movie was the Jailbreaker.
Yeah.
He was also acting, right? This is quite interesting, It's a lot of emulation of that experience. I think it's a good time to take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk more about, how we can see the opportunity that this diaspora could work with the local entrepreneur. In other words, the synergy in that one. That's my the way I see the last 10 years, the country have grown dramatically since we joined the WTO. Now we're in the ASEAN Economic Community. The ability of young Cambodian entrepreneurs to travel visa-free to ASEAN country, Bangkok, Singapore, Malaysia, so it opened their horizon. But it's still a Asian perspective, right? Your community that you work with, the diaspora, are more European, are more Western, sort of like community. So when they come back, do you see a certain clash of culture?
Yes, I would say, of course there is. In terms of, let's say when you come back, it's very personal.
Mm-hmm.
So it all relates to your family history.
Yes.
And also to your family background in Cambodia. Yes. So for some people it's going very well,
yes.
And for a lot of them it's getting hard. So, and the thing is that I think back then in 2000 maybe it was easier for us because we had this very competitive advantage, yes. Over our local compatriots.
Yes, yes.
But now, as you said, you have a lot of local Cambodians going overseas as well.
Yes, yes.
And when they come back,
yeah.
They have the network,
yes.
They have the language that we still
yes.
don't really
yes.
master well.
Yes.
So competitive advantage is getting smaller.
Smaller.
But
yeah.
what we bring is it is Western culture, it is Western way of thinking.
Yes.
And of course it can go with clash. But I would say clever people have to adapt themselves to
yes.
the local society, and at the same time the local society itself is moving into something more I wouldn't say more Western, but more open.
Yeah, modernized.
Modernized than before.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, what you say is very true. That you have on one side the diaspora who left more for historical distortion reason, right? The war, whatever, right? And then since '93, what the Western world, or the developed world, if I can say, Japan, Australia, France, US, Singapore, the one thing that they have been doing, which I always, say thanks to whenever I meet the ambassador, is that, one of the things that the donor have done, which is very good for this country, is giving scholarship to Cambodia. Because that, to me, is where sustainability comes. That, yes, you give opportunity for this young kid, graduate from high school, to go and study 5-6 years in another country, submerged. Because there's a difference. Visiting is one thing. Yeah. You can visit 1 month, 2 weeks, you don't feel it. But when you study in Australia, or France, in Singapore, you are submerged into the culture, in the way of thinking, the way of doing business. And then 5-6 years later, this group of scholarship, students are coming back. And I take, for example, from France. In the early 90s, when the country opened up, when I came back that time working as a lawyer, but still from the common law system, right? We barely have anybody who know about the law, right? Now I would say the amount of Cambodian students who return from Paris, from Lyon, with a law degree, it's a lot. So to me, this thing takes time. It takes time, but once you have it, the base is there. And this is where I see one good aspect of Cambodian who returned from France with a law degree. And recently, Yi Xian, you know him. He just got his doctorate from Dauphine, Paris Dauphine, in droit public. And to me, it's a capacity building of the local who are not diaspora, but who are part of this generation of scholars who get there. And between the two, I think there's great synergy. Yeah. Because when you want to study, of course, who do you meet? You meet the Cambodians who live there. the connection is there. And then when you come back, the connection continue on, and I think the work that your group is doing is very useful to continue to act as that bridge there.
So the thing is that we have been engaging a dialogue with authorities or local personalities for more than a year now. And of course the people we relate to, or the people we prefer to speak to, are those people.
Yes.
Because we have a lot of synergies together.
Yes.
And as I said, we are more from the private sector, so,
yes.
so they can rely on us.
Yes.
And of course we are very, very happy to get people we can talk to, and that understand also our issues or way also of thinking.
Yes, yes.
And so I think that this generation and our generation and their generation, if we put them all together, it's a great chance for Cambodia.
Yes.
Because if you look at neighbor countries,
I was about to say that.
Yeah, they don't have this very moment where the diaspora is coming back.
Yes.
Is willing to do something, not as a group, but as individuals.
Yes.
And also, I have to say, the Cambodian government is very, very open, and since early 90s.
Yes.
For the diaspora to coming back. We need more effort,
yes,
of course, but the will is already here.
Yeah.
And a lot of us are already in Cambodia.
Yes. And Rasmay, what I hear from you is something that is in my mind for quite a while, is that when we speak about ASEAN Economic Community, we always have that image that we are together, right? Which we are, all 10 countries, right? But when we speak from attracting investment, we're all competing.
Yeah.
We're all competing to attract foreign direct investment, to attract business to our respective country. We don't promote for investors to go to Thailand and Vietnam, right? And to me, I find that the combination of the Cambodian diaspora combined with the Cambodian scholar who study abroad, now they have a certain high level of sophistication, of technology, of knowledge, and that we feel that we can stand a chance to compete with the Singaporean, with the Malaysian, whose language matter quite a bit, right? There was a survey done about language between Cambodia, Vietnam, and Thailand, and they find that the Cambodia, the level of English is much higher, which means that when people come, it's easy to find a Cambodian who speaks English. And now I would say the younger French-speaking returnee whether from diaspora or from the scholarship program are there now. Yeah, it is quite interesting. Do you see the same thing?
Yeah, I think so. And I would say the diaspora should be the best. The first ambassador of Cambodia outside.
Yes.
It's not always the case,
yes.
because of that's something also we should talk about, like the politicization of the diaspora, which is something which is a hot topic. But I would say, as returnees, so people who did return to Cambodia and are visiting, I'm going to France twice a year.
Yes.
Then every time I go to France, I do meet fellow Cambodians, and of course I always talk about what I'm doing in Cambodia.
Yeah.
And I'm doing that, and you have 400 people doing that. So I would say we are the best promoters of Cambodia.
Yes.
And we should be the link between Cambodia and our, I don't know to say that, the host countries. Related country. Yeah.
Well, Australia, for example, they have a very active alumni community, and the Australian embassy are very active. I mean, every year they organize, I think now they're like 2,000 or something on this. It's amazing. I happen to chair the CDI, which is the Cambodian Development Resource Institute, which is Cambodia's oldest research institute. And we find that out of 50 full-time researchers, 40 some of them are receive scholarship, to study abroad. And when they come back, quite a very, very powerful pool of intellectual, but what they bring also is a lot of connection from their year in different university there, But Ismail, I want to talk to the last hat that you're wearing, which is more, I would say, the entrepreneurial side of it. I look at your background. You are also starting an organization, a company called Confluence.
Yeah.
Confluence is like a confluence in English. Confluence of what?
So yeah, the name Confluence speaks for itself. The idea was to create a gate to the Cambodian market for foreign companies.
Okay.
And the way I see entrepreneurship is it's like a river. So
Okay.
it's never go straight, but
The
Confluence
Mekong River.
exactly. But we want to be at the center of it.
Yes,
Like
yeah.
Chapter, at the center of the river, and also Confluence is the name of one neighborhood in my hometown in Lyon. So this is why it's on
Oh,
Confluence.
in English we say at a crossroad.
Yeah, the crossroad, exactly.
Yeah.
And so the idea is to be the crossroad for foreign companies coming to Cambodia. We did start this agency, it's like a consulting agency 2 years ago.
Okay.
And now we also did open a business center and
Okay.
a startup incubator.
What do you mean? Explain me. It's quite interesting, this notion of incubator. Explain a bit what you're doing in that.
Okay, so let's say the first business was more a business center where we do provide office solution for companies, but then we had empty spaces.
Yes.
And a year ago we could start to see some startup, like people coming with tech ideas, and the thing when they start the project, they don't have much budget. They don't have the administrative resources to push it forward.
Yes.
So the idea was to provide them with those office admin solution, and to work with them, help them with the marketing, with the sales, and to help them grow.
Yes.
Within our incubator. So now we have, I would say, 7 startups with us.
Oh, good.
Which is not bad.
Not bad. In 1 year. In 1 year.
Yeah. So 2 of them are getting incorporated now.
Yes.
And for the 5 others, we still don't know, because they are very
still at the early stage.
Maybe some of them will fail. That's life.
It's normal. It's normal.
It's normal. It's a way of business of the startup.
But I would say, even if they fail the first round, right, it's a great learning curve.
Of course.
I always felt that it's better to fail when you're young, when you early start, right? At least the loss is not too much. Then like when you're mid-career, business is booming and suddenly you messed up, Yeah. So how do you get them to say, okay, start something, we have the structure to support. What sort of support structure you provided?
It's, I would say mainly, like, the thing is as we are a very small agency, Confluence, only a few people, but we have a very big network. We know a lot of people. And what we do mainly is we open doors to them. But what we try to do is to get startup within the same field, so that we can do cross-selling and cross-marketing as well. So that the effort is not on one structure, but on all our structure together. And and then what we do as well, but it's just the beginning for us, is that we do also seek for funding for them, which is one of the main problems for the startup in Cambodia. I think the situation is moving.
Access to finance.
Access to finance. You can start to see business angels. You can start to see private fund as well.
So you are involved with the angel investment program, right?
We are not involved as let's say we know them, and we have access to them. So when we have startup, we think will fit to their needs.
I think we'll take another short break, and we'll come back. We'll talk more about access to finance, which I think is very important when small entrepreneurs start like that. Esme, you mentioned about something that I find very interesting, very novel for Cambodia, but it starts to have a lot of traction now, which is angel investor. Does your organization help this young entrepreneur to access to this sort of finance?
The thing is, you have let's say one bad thing about the Cambodian market now is access to finance. bank can loan money, but it's very, very expensive.
And they want collateral.
Yeah, and they want big collateral as well. So it's getting hard. It's hard for SME, but and for startup, of course. And so you start to have like a small, I will say, a small startup community, but it's getting bigger. You can find almost every month there's a new, I will not call incubator, but a new co-working space. You can see a lot of visitors from overseas looking for projects. I would say the money is here. Business angels, investment fund. But the problem is that we need to structure the project themselves in order for them to be ready to get that money.
You know, maybe I share something, my personal experience when I was the director at the International Trade Center in Geneva. We had, because we have program, you know, in every year I have about 70-some program. Of course it's UN, right, so funding is there. But it's mostly to help developing country. And the issue of access to financing is very prominent, not just in Cambodia, in Africa, in Latin America, in the Eastern Europe. And one program that we come up with, and I think you can go to the website of the ITC, CCE, Centre de Commerce International, is what we call how do you build a program with the bank where your business plan or you build the capacity of the CEO of that entrepreneur to the point that the bank will see them more as a collateral rather than, you know, the house or the land as collateral. So it's a good program, you know. What we did, we go to different country and we work with the banking association to say, look, you know, what does the bank want? The bank want the money to pay back. They want to minimize the risk. They don't want the default. They want principal payment plus interest. So why they need the collateral is to make sure that if the business fails, they get something back. Now, how about we propose you that the strength of this CEO, the strength of this entrepreneur, his management capacity, his business plan, it's so good, right, that the chance of it not succeeding is very low, and therefore it's a collateral. That's something that you should check, and well, it's a UN program, so all the methodologies there, all the material there. This could be something that you can use to work, maybe not necessarily with a big bank right away, because their structure is too heavy, but perhaps with the smaller microfinance where they're more flexible, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah.
But I think you have a lot of program already in place.
Yes.
Sometimes the French, the Australians, the Korean to help with a startup ecosystem in Cambodia.
Yes.
So this is why I'm very optimistic about it. And you can see there are events almost every week, hackathon, everything. I will not say we do participate in every of them because we are like a community within the community. Even our startup mostly are French or French Cambodians. So sometimes it's hard for them to join Khmer speaking events. It's not that easy. And also I will say for now, my point of view is that a lot of those efforts are focusing on what I would call the impact startup. So startup with a social impact. On Confluence we are focusing on business. So because we do things that startup will last only if they make money. So this is why we have to find a way to join with a bigger group.
Well, I think, you know, when you say impact, I see a lot of nowadays we talk a lot about the fourth industrial revolution, which is in fact is all about IT. It's all about technology, and to me, a country like Cambodia that is so open, where language is not a barrier, policy opening is not a barrier, and you have a young population who can, you know, I mean, for this is very easy for them. IT, smartphone. IT could be that impact that you're looking for. You know, you can hire people in the province to do outsourcing, that sort of thing.
I will add one thing that I think Cambodians, everyone in Cambodia is almost an entrepreneur. I mean, if you go in provinces, every small household, they got like this small shop in front of it. So the spirit is already here, which is not the case in every society.
And the fact, to me, I always think that IT is a tool, right? The fact that people use a smartphone, now they move to access to finance, right? This Wing, this True Money, whatever. These are all part of access to finance. Inclusion at its best, right? At the lowest level of the stratum. Because I would say 10 years ago, if you don't have a bank account, you're not in the banking system. Nowadays, everybody have it. So I think if people are used to use the smartphone as a tool, let's say that's now for bank wiring, right? For money wiring. But there's so many other apps that will enable them to start their own business. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. It's something, if you look at most of the startup projects in Cambodia, most of them are related to this. Like it can be, of course, get a taxi like Uber. It can be order your food. It can be having people deliver your food at home. It can be, you have a lot of things. I also saw some application more like on the development side. Like those serious game, education game, where you can have people play on their smartphone, but at the same time get educated on how to wash your hands, basic hygiene, this kind of thing. So because now the smartphone is at the center of almost everyone's life. Maybe not the poorest people, but for the average people. So it's a very, very strong tool.
No, I think a few months ago I was in Hong Kong for this what you call Credit Suisse Entrepreneur Connect. So it's supported by Credit Suisse, but what they do, they bring entrepreneur, and they bring like this speaker, and it's quite interesting. Quite a young engineer, Chinese engineer, English is also. But one idea that he has is that he say in China there are 3 million manufacturers. 3 million manufacturers. Anything, here it's made from China, here it's all made from China. So his idea was that, look, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a businessman, you have any idea to build anything, right? To do anything in manufacturing, right? His system, he can provide from the conceptual design, from the actual molding, from sourcing the material, from company who will actually make that, to company that will market, that will transport. So in other words, he can access these 3 million manufacturers. And in less than a few years, he's now on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, Unbelievable. But again, I would say 10 years ago, when technology is not that sophisticated, I don't think he can do it. It's just now it's a power of technology. Alibaba, it's the same thing, So I see a lot of speaking about diaspora, speaking about Cambodian scholar coming back. They have that base now. And to me, I really encourage you that you continue to push further that agenda, get this partnership going, team up with the big company. In this case, clear you need this backward or forward linkage, Microsoft, Bill Gates, all this big guy, come to Cambodia, help us be part of that link, So I hope you will continue doing that, and a few years from now, you have 50 startup in your organization. But what you're doing is a good start. It's a good start. The trick is to, as always, scalability.
Exactly.
How are you going to scale within the confine of any entrepreneur? The financial constraint, right? This is always to me, I find. The issue is that at some point you need access to finance. But there's something good. I think the Cambodian government are quite progressive. Is that now with the IPO, right? This stock exchange, they have now loosened or relaxed the rule for SME. That they are not stringent like for big company, So this is something you should explore also, not for the immediate term, but for those who are quite ready, right? I always look at like the entrepreneur, like the Brown family, for example, the Brown Coffee, for example. They have now like 12 stores or something?
I think more.
Well, probably more. They open in Siem Reap. Probably staff 400-500 people. They can compete heads-on with Costa Coffee or Starbucks. These are something that we are proud of. But how do you, at one point, get them the financing necessary that they can go nationwide without having to grow organically? I'm going to save some money. Now I have enough money, I'm going to open another store, right? Something like that,
And maybe they can go outside Cambodia as well.
That is also another option there. But again, access to finance matter for entrepreneur, Well, we only have a few minutes left, but I would say, I see Cambodia financial sector is quite open. A lot of our microfinance have access to, I say, wholesale lending from, French bank or something like this. You see that?
Yeah, I think there is a lot of they have access, but once again, the main problem for now is, and the ball is on our side, is for us to build those projects that will match with their requirement.
Yeah, the requirement.
And it goes with dialogue, because sometimes maybe their requirements are not fit with the Cambodian market.
Yes.
So just a matter of adjusting.
Yeah, adjusting. I always, when I meet young entrepreneur, I always stress that, look, pay tax guy, get your paperwork in order, because ultimately, when foreign investors come, when they look for partner,
for sure,
the first thing they do, of course, they will come to us to do the due diligence, and the first thing we check is, is your paper in order, right? Are you a formal company? Do you pay tax? And if you pay tax, how much, right? Because that's how you calculate the volume of the business, and then ultimately the multiplier. How do you assess the value of your company if you're gonna sell 20 or 30% to the foreign company? And I think for foreign company, they rely on that documentation. So I think I see more and more of a Cambodian entrepreneur, particularly those who went study abroad. When they come back, they took over from the family business. The first generation entrepreneur, they just do it. The kids come back and say, Dad, now we have to grow. We have to go to the bank. The bank need documentation, And by the way, Dad, you register in the Ministry of Commerce. We need board resolution. The father said, I never have all that. I own the company. He said, that's true, Dad, but when you go to borrow money from the bank, when you're looking for a partner, they would want to see, this documentation. So I think it's very, very important that over time, we help them to formalize. Right?
And I do think also that, talking back to the Cambodian diaspora, is that paying tax is a culture by itself.
In culture by itself.
It's a culture by itself. In Cambodia, we are not used to that yet.
Yes.
But in France, we are very, very used to pay tax.
Exactly.
And so I think for those coming back, we think it's pretty normal to pay tax.
So in other words, c'est déjà un acquis. It is already something you don't have to work for.
And we rather pay tax than bribes.
Yes. So. Good. Well, Svay, thank you so much for coming for the show and then share your experience. It's good to hear from somebody who have both culture, and I think it's important that we continue to build that bridge so that ultimately, you as Cambodian as me, we want to see this country thrive, but the country only thrive when the citizens are thriving, right?
Exactly.
So on that note, congratulations, good job. Okay. Yes.